Welcome, everyone. So glad to have you here. This precious time to connect with yourself, your body, your breath. And we will start today resting on your back. So, some of you here are already there. You can find a position on your back. When you get there, I'd encourage you to keep your knees bent and plant your feet just to have some stability of the ground underneath you. And start to welcome yourself here, whatever that means for you, inviting a couple breaths in, letting this be a transition point from the start of your day into this noon hour yoga core class. Taking a couple breaths, they might start in through the nose and out through the nose. And if you need to find more connection to your breath, you can bend your elbows, place your hands somewhere on your torso, could be up at the chest, the middle of your belly, or maybe a little lower down towards the hips. And as you find that connection point, notice how your breath moves your core. So we start our practice with a little connection, grounding into your body. And let's see what you can find when it comes to movement with your breath. If your hands are resting over your body, notice when you inhale, there's an expansion. And when you exhale, those hands come back closer towards the center. Find your breath here up to 5 more. And if it's possible for you, lower the breath, meaning breathe towards your belly button. And so in a yoga core class, I am going to take our focus towards the diaphragm and diaphragmatic breathing. The diaphragm is a muscle, it lives under the rib cage, and when you breathe in, it expands and there's pressure down in the abdomen. When you breathe out, that pressure subsides. Find 3 more diaphragmatic breaths in through the nose, feeling the connection of movement at your core. Expansion on the inhale, softness on the exhale. Let your mind be interested in your breath. One more here. And feel free to keep your hands on your torso if that's a good connection point for you. Otherwise, you can let them slide off towards the sides. If your feet are not planted, plant them now. Let your knees point up to the ceiling. Start to sway your knees to the right. A little twist in the core and hips. And then start to sway your knees through center. Sway them to the left. Good. Find that connection a couple more times to movement in the hips. One hip lifts, the other hip drops. Side to side, you might start to feel a little stretch coming into the low back, maybe even up into the shoulders. And you can turn your head one direction or the other, following the knees or opposing the knees. Next time your knees are in the middle, try to flatten your back towards the ground, pressing your core in towards the floor. And then release that. Let's try that a couple times. These are posterior pelvic tilts, pressing the low back down, the tailbone rolls up. This is all a core movement here. Up to 3 more pelvic tilts towards the back, towards the floor. Tailbone's rolling up. Hips are staying on the ground. You're simply moving through the core. One more. Press the back down. And release. Find your right knee and pull it in towards your chest. Right hand towards right knee. Left hand might meet it too. You can circle the right ankle. Spread those right toes. Hug this right knee in. Let the ankle movement pause. Take a breath now. See if you can feel your belly press into your leg. If it's that close, maybe it's a little farther away. Take one more breath in. And then gently plant the right foot. Pick up the left knee. Hug it in. Your back flattens towards the earth. You can twirl that ankle to start, get some movement in through the toes. Hugging that knee in as close as is comfortable. And then you have 3 breaths here. Breathe towards the belly. Soften your face, even your shoulders, maybe even the grip on your knee. Focus on your breath. And then plant this left foot down. We'll find that pelvic tilt one more time where you flatten your back towards the ground. And this time I want to see if you could hover your feet off the ground. When you hover your feet, you'll really feel your core muscles turn on. Focus on the front body muscles, let the back be open and broad, and then drop the feet back down. Relax the core. You'll do that 2 more times. If the hover of the feet is working for you, you can go with that. Hover the feet and then drop them down. Relax the core. And then a final time, we're going to hover the feet. This time, we're going to try to lift them a little higher, bending the knees at 90, flexing the ankles at 90, like you're sitting in a chair, but here we're leaning back. Good. So now your core is starting to fire here. We're going to take up to 7 reps side to side. Right toe drops down. Lift up right toe. Left toe drops down. Low abdominal engagement here. So you got it. Keep it moving. Up to 6 more each side. You can stop the movement at any point. You could go back to that slight foot hover. Here we're really warming up the low part of our body. Good. Keep it going. Find your breath. Maybe about 2 more. Tap the toe and bring up that leg. Good. Getting a little warm, feeling the heat coming in towards the low abdominals and the hip flexors. When you're complete, grab your knees towards your chest. Both knees hug in, relax the belly. Breathe in here. Deep breaths. You might even open your mouth for a couple sighs. Good. 2 more. Relax the core while your knees are hugging in. We started that work on the low abdominals. We're going to start to work towards the top. You're going to let your feet drop down towards the floor. Both knees are bent. Interlace your hands and place them behind your head. You could stay right here and start to sense and feel on that exhale. You're going to tighten in through the core, or you're going to start to lift those elbows towards the ceiling and use your front abdominals, the top half of your abdominals, to lift your head and look towards your knees. Trying not to use the neck as much as the core muscles. Elbows will open up when you come back down, then lift those elbows towards the ceiling, tighten in towards core, look to knees. You got about, we'll say 5 more. Slow somatic sit-up, sensing and feeling front body tighten, and then let those muscles release as you come on down. Good. You got 4 more. You're doing it. Take that gentle gaze towards your knees, or maybe even gentle intention towards your heart as you're finding this compassionate connection towards your core. Good. If you want to add to this, we're going to add a couple layers next. You're going to let those knees start to hover back up 90-90 with the legs. You can go back to the original or just the top half. You're going to start to lift your head, tighten in through your core. Good. We got 5 of those. Let's see what we can find in that connection towards the belly. Let the back be soft. And are you breathing? Mhm. Good. A couple more. All right, lower the knees. If you'd like, unlace the hands from behind the head. Take a breather where you maybe soften side to side with knees swaying. You might even let your head rotate. Sigh it out. We can feel that heat coming into the core. We're going to build on it just another time, starting a diagonal cross. So there's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to have us start with hands behind the head, interlaced. You can keep your feet on the ground. If that low body work is just a little too much, you keep your feet on the ground. If you want to lift up, you're going to lift left knee and then cross over right elbow. And then you're going to switch sides. Right knee's going to lift, left elbow's going to cross. Good. You got 5 more. Keep it going. Your exhale is going to be helpful in tightening through the core. So maybe you're lifting on that exhale. And you can pause at any point. Let this be more joyful than anything. If that pause means you take a breath or simply twist side to side. Use that exhale to tighten in. Maybe one more each side. Good. Let the hands come from behind the head. Start to sway the knees. You could also go back to squeezing the legs in. Definitely go back to breathing deep in through the nose. Okay, final little play here. We're going to lift those legs up if that's supportive for you. You can always keep those feet on the ground. 90-90 bend, knees and ankles and hips. Arms are going to lift straight up to the sky this time. And we're going to try to cross the body, reaching that right hand toward the outside of the left knee. And then bring it back, lower the head, and then cross the other way. Just using our limbs now, a bigger expansion through the arms, but that same tightness is coming in through the core. You got about 5 more each side. Use that exhale to tighten in. You can pause at any point. Are we sweating yet? I can feel a couple beads coming onto my face. Maybe it's the heat of being in the front, mic'd up, but you got it. Keep it going once more. Okay, relax by hugging those knees in, sway side to side. We'll be changing directions now, headed towards hands and knees. So you can roll to a side to get there, or you could roll forward and back. Ooh, here we go. Changing directions, hands and knees. So this is tabletop. We got some nice carpet here, so it's a little softer than usual. You could also roll up the top of your mat if you want a little bit more cushion for your wrists. Cows and cats are next. We got a gentle arch of the back. That's cow pose. And then we round in, that's cat. Good. So this could be straight forward and back, our traditional cow and cat postures. And maybe when that gets a little, I won't say boring, because this is all interesting. You can sway those hips side to side, and you can make this more organic, just letting your torso move, letting your hips move. And as you lend your hands and your knees, find your spine right in the middle. Take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Take your gaze to the top of edge of your mat. Breathe in there. And breathe out. See if you can feel your belly go down to the floor on inhale. That's the diaphragmatic breath. Inhale. When you exhale, you can exaggerate. Pull your belly button back in towards your core. You can stay right here. Work with that diaphragmatic breath. If you're ready for a little bit more heat, a little challenge, you can tuck those toes under. We're going to do a hover of the knees. This is really going to turn on your core muscles. You do have to tighten up strong through the back of the shoulders and then start to hover your knees off the ground. You could stay there for 1 second. That could be enough for you, or we got 5 more breaths. Tighten in through the core. If your head is drooping down, try to lift it up. Full breath in. Lower your knees, soften the hips back. If you want to get off the wrists, you can open the palms for a moment. Brief visit to child's pose. Catch your breath. Notice the heat that just came into the body there. And then come back forward, hands and knees. So when you're in tabletop position, this is similar to a plank. So you can tighten in through the core and be strong through the core. We're going to shift back towards child's pose. We'll do this 3 times. And then you're going to come forward on your inhale, tabletop position. Exhale, shift back. Rise your breath forward. Inhale. Exhale, shift back. So you're going to stick with that version if that's the most supportive version at this point. You can always pause, go to a child's pose. If you want to level it up, we're going plank to downward dog. You're going to tuck those toes, find a plank pose. Shift back, downward dog. Inhale, ride your breath forward. Exhale, shift back. So you got up to 5 more of these. You can pause at any point. I want you to focus on your core being strong like plank, even in that downward dog shape. The movement's happening at hips and shoulders. And you could go back to your knees. And then let's all land our knees, shift our hips back. Child's pose. A moment to get off the wrists. You can open those palms up. Let your breath just breathe you here. You could direct your breath or just watch it. If you're directing your breath, you might breathe towards your back. Good. Notice the movement of your breath. As you come forward, we're going to add some knee pulls. You could do these from tabletop position. So from tabletop, you're going to find your knee on the left side, pull it in towards your elbow. Okay, do we see how that's a crunch in through the obliques? You're going to switch to the right side. Now, if you came here for more than that, you're going to go from plank pose to pulling the knee in. But I want to assure you that you're still getting that same core work if you're doing this from knees. You're tightening in, crunch it in. You got about 3 more each side. Where's that little challenge? Where's that heat? Good. We'll lower our knees down, shift back, child's pose, just a reflective moment, breathing in. Good. Full breath to your back. Good. As we start to rise, we'll do one more thing on our hands here. I want to give you another option. You can go to soft fists where knuckles are down and wrist is straight. If the wrist is getting a little cranky in that flexed position. You're going to start hip circles, trying not to move the hips too much. You're going to lift up one knee, circle it out to the side. Try to keep that connection towards the core. Change directions of that circle. See if you can not wobble too much in shoulders and hip. The legs have a unique connection to the core through a deep hip flexor muscle called the psoas. We're really moving it around here. You're going to take that left leg. You're going to send it straight out to the side. So the side of your mat. Yeah, make sure that pinky toe is down. And then a couple times adductor stretch inner leg. This will help when we get to like a warrior 2 pose. You're going to shift back, feel the inside of your leg stretch, come forward. Good, breathe it in here, 3 more passes, simple stretch, inside of leg. Good. Land that knee back underneath you. And then pick up the other side, knee circles first. So a couple more moves on our wrists here. Try to tighten in through the core and shoulders. That'll help take some weight off the wrists. You can even press down through your finger pads, making sure all 5 finger pads are on the earth. Change directions of that circle. And when you're ready to send that leg out to the side, yeah, you can land that leg. It'll take some weight off the wrists and you can shift back and forward. Inner leg stretch, good for our bigger postures like warrior 2. Warm up that connection there. One more. Shift on back. Okay, we're coming to standing. So if you wanted to do a downward dog, we won't do too many more in class today. You could take that downward dog here. And then walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. And a slow rise all the way up to standing. This microphone, my hair, is not doing its thing today, so just don't mind me. All right. So from standing, yeah, beautiful. Let's lift our arms. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands through center, trying to gather some connection, bring it towards your heart. Let's do that a couple times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Find it again. Lift up. Pause with the hands at heart. Just a simple connection. You can feel the connection of finger pads, a little space in the center of the palms. Start to find some rooting into your right leg. Okay, as you stand into your right, notice your glute higher on the right side. You can start to hover the left heel off the ground. And we are in a carpeted room. It makes it a little extra challenging to balance. If you feel steady, you can start to lift the toe off the ground. Right here, feel your exhale tighten in through your core. Lift your knee as high as you'd like. Breathe in. We're just going to pause for one more breath here. One-legged balance. You know, we're always balancing when we walk. So you're good at it already. All right, let's go left leg. So sway over to that left leg. Turn on the biggest muscles in the body. Those glute muscles will help support you, part of our core connection. Once you feel ready, you start to hover that heel. Maybe you keep the toe down the whole time. But if you're feeling connected to that core, that exhale might tighten in. The knee might lift. The foot might flex. It helps to find one gazing point, something that isn't moving. And breathe. 2 more breaths here. Then drop that foot down, sway side to side. You might even drop the arms, do a little twist. We haven't done much twisting today, so we'll get towards some of that right now. Okay, root into that right foot as you land through the middle. Start to pick up that left foot, step it back behind. We're going to land in a warrior 1 first. That back foot is down, back leg is long, front knee is bending. Let's go in and out of that a couple times. Unbend the knee and then bend. Feel some connection through that back leg, glute, part of the core connection here. And we'll do a little bit of flow. Arms will lift up. Inhale. Exhale, let the arms come down. Use your breath here, just like waves. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Arms are connected to the core as well. Good. Inhale, drop your worries. Re-energize. Let it go. Good. Stand tall into the front foot. Challenge to lift those arms. Hands reach up. Hands come down. Pause. Notice the energy here. And then shift to your left foot. Step that right foot back. It's a warrior 1 posture. Those toes are pointed out a little bit. And a couple times you're just going to bend into that front knee. Bend in and lengthen. Good hip and knee work here. Good. And from this position, bending into the front knee, stabilize through the spine. It's lifting up towards the ceiling. The arms will join it. And then we'll flow. Exhale, drop them down. Inhale, lift them up. This is kind of the energizing part of practice. You have to move some energy, lift up, rise up. Exhale, let it go. You got about 3 more. Keep them going. Good. The challenge here will be to stand forward while lifting your arms up. Palms come back to heart. Pause. Notice the heartbeat. Maybe your breath pace is a little faster. You can just let your breath breathe you. In and out through the nose. Yeah, you feel that heat in the body? It's definitely warm. So we're going to cross the body with a diagonal stretch in our lunge pose. Right foot's down, left foot's back. So I said lunge pose, which could be a more challenging pose for you if you'd like to take it. The back heel is lifted. If that feels too unsteady and you're not going to be able to focus, just lower that heel down. Good. So the opposite arm, your left arm is going to reach up. And we're going to cross that diagonal. You're going to reach outside of the right leg, just like we did when we were down on the ground. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, cross. Use your breath here to help. It's the activation of the core. Exhaling, pulling in. You got 3 more. Good. I can hear you breathing here at the Monona Terrace. Hopefully you're breathing at home too. Inhale, reaching. Exhale. Good. Final time. Good. Let both arms reach up. Warrior one. Or you still have that heel lifted. You're in lunge. We are going to swivel that heel open and back. You're in warrior two now. You're going to face the left side of your mat. Arms are going to go out long. That knee is going to bend. Good. And let's turn your heads to your right hand to look over your right hand. Good. Breathe in there. Drop the tailbone down. Feel your core on your breath. Good. We'll do a little play with the arms. Drop them down. Let the wrists cross. Inhale, lift on up. Everything's stable from hips and below. The arms are lifting, rising. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Lots of movement here. Where's your center? All right, arms are going to go forward. Little challenge for the core. You're going to lean forward, keeping some weight on that back leg. This is side angle. You're leaning into your right leg, but there's some energy down your back left leg. On your exhale, feel that core tighten in. Then lengthen up warrior two. Lengthen front leg. Same thing, bend and release, riding the hips forward and back. Then let's all take a break with our hands. Let's let them slide down towards our hips. When we go long with the front leg, we'll head towards triangle pose with a little hike in the back hip. You could stay right here with the arms. You could slide that right hand down to the inner knee. And then left arm starts to come up. Yeah, some of you know triangle. Again, if the shoulders are a little tight or sore, you can keep that left hand at your hip. Yeah, leaning towards your right long leg. Breathe in. On your exhale, feel that core connection. One more breath. Good. Start to stand back up. Bend into the front knee. Warrior one or warrior two. Look towards your right hand. Breathe in. Steady. Feel the earth under your palms. Good. Hands come to hips. Lengthen left leg, right leg. Both sets of toes go towards the side of your mat. You're facing the inside here, the Monona Terrace. Good. Most of you still have your hands on your hips, which is great because we're going to feel that pelvis roll over your leg bones as you go halfway. When you go halfway, it's a core strengthener. It's a spine strengthener. On exhale, feel that halfway connection like plank. Tighten in through your core. One more breath. And if you have no blood pressure concerns and you want to take this to a full fold, go right ahead. If you're a little bit concerned about that, why don't you stand back up, taking a full breath in and out. Wide-legged fold. If it's comfortable, you can drop the head down. Taking one more breath in and out. Letting your sit bones rise to the sky. There can be softness in your knees. Big leg stretch. Full breath out. Slow to rise as the blood pressure does change. Press into your feet. Lift up. Right toes will spin forward. Left heel will lift as you slide the left leg forward as well. Both feet stand at the top of the mat. Pause. This is a moment you could close your eyes or just softly gaze ahead. Reconnect with your breath. It's like this part of practice where the mind's like, okay, what am I doing after this? Stay connected here and now. Breathe in and breathe out. That's the forever practice. Coming back to presence. You got two more breaths here, and we'll do our second side. I'm going to turn around, so I'm not going to be having my back to you. You're going to take that left foot forward, step that right foot back. We're going to start with that lunge pose. This is a challenge of balance. If you don't want to be there, you just lower that heel down. When we lift our right arm, we're going to try that diagonal up to 7 times. Cross the body. It's like a cross diagonal crunch. Shoulder comes to hip. Lift up. And cross. Use your breath. Exhaling. Inhale is the rise. Exhale, cross. Inhale, lift. Good. You got this. Focus on your body, this functional movement diagonally across the body. Next time, arm is up. Lift it up. Open up warrior two. Oh, now we got the best view in town. And I'm going to have you turn your head, though, to the left. Traditional gaze is over the left hand. Warrior two. So be steady here. Feel some weight in the back leg. If you could drop an anchor through your tailbone and land right between your 2 feet. Breathing in and breathing out. We'll take a little flow with the arms. Let them drop. Cross at the wrists and lift up in. Exhale, cross the wrists. Good. Find your breath. Inhale, lifts the arms. Exhale, drops them. Good. I often think about where I'm going to fly to next. These proverbial wings. You got it. Open them up. One more. Good. Finding a little oblique contraction on the left side. You're going to lean in towards side angle. Left hand towards your left inner knee. You can optionally keep that right hand at the hip or lift it on up. Sneaky core work here. Tighten in your core through your exhale. Good. One more breath. And then start to rise back up. Warrior two, just a couple more standing postures. We'll do a little flow in and out of the front leg. As we're going for a long leg, hands might land at the hips. We're headed towards triangle. With that long front leg, you'll start to tilt and lift that back hip up. Left hand goes to the inside of the left knee. Right arm optionally lifts, or you keep that hand at your hip. Triangle pose. Your breath, especially on the exhale, will stabilize your spine. Good. Find an inhale. Gentle exhale. We're coming back up. Warrior two. Good. Lengthen that front leg, all 10 toes here at the Monona Terrace towards that beautiful Lake Monona. We're in star pose next. Arms going to lift up. Legs are wide. Feel the big toes and also the pinky toes. Again, drop the tailbone straight down. You can stay up in this star pose. If you like that fold from earlier, you want to go back into it. Take your hands to your hips and fold. I'm going to stay in this star pose, just taking in the views here. Breathing in. We'll do 3 more breaths. Yeah, if you like that fold, dip on into the fold. Good. Feel the aliveness pulsing through you here. That heart's doing its job, pumping some blood, fresh oxygen to your muscles, taking 2 more breaths. Good. Let those arms drop down. If you're folded, gently, slowly rise. Arms are lowering, left toes pointing to the top of the mat. Right heel will spin up and you'll take that stance to the top. Oh, welcome back to your feet, your front and center. I'm going to have us do one more strengthening pose. That's chair pose. If you're like, I'm done with that, you can just stay tall, mountain pose. Chair pose is going to have us connect in through our core. You're going to sit back like you're going to land in a chair. Very functional here. There's no chair behind us though, so don't quite take a seat. We're going to do about 5 of these breaths. Arms are going to go forward. If you rather just stay and connect here, looking between the palms, you could. If you want to swim with me, grab your oars. Let's go. Arms go back. Yeah, trying to stay nice and solid through the core, and legs just move through those beautiful shoulder ranges. You got it. I hear your breath. We're oaring together on our way. Go find it one more time. I said oaring, I mean rowing. Here we go. Lift and lift. Arms could go up. Palms come to connect. Good. When we get down to the earth, my final challenge here is to maybe not use your hands. Let's see how we can do that. We're just going to think, maybe I could step a foot back. Maybe I could lower down that knee. Maybe that wasn't the right leg. I want to try the other side. You decide how you're going to get down without using your hands. Fun little challenge, hey? It's good for the brain. Ah, nice work. Let's stay seated for just a moment. I'm going to actually have you lean back a little bit. Take those hands behind you. Bend your knees. This will be a nice release for the hips. Knees go side to side. Good. I'll say 45 minutes goes pretty quickly, y'all. Hopefully you're feeling a little warmer, feeling some good energy pulsing through you today. Right. We're going to take this into a seated tall. We'll open the legs, let those feet come together. Doing a little hip opening here. You could stay up nice and tall. You could kind of grab those shins and let your heart lift. That might be a nice meditative place for you to land. If you want to flex into your spine, maybe soften into that core work we did today, and start to fold over your legs. Tucking the chin, softening the face. Letting your breath just breathe you at this point, trying not to control it. Take 3 more breaths. If you want to direct the breathe towards your back. The breath has a directional quality, and it might move towards your back muscles with 1 more breath in. Gently, slowly start to rise if you've been folded. Take your hands to the outside of your knees, help the knees come in. We're going to take this back to our back. Knees could be bent. As you roll on back, you could even hug those knees up in with you. And you're back on your back where we started. You could hug those knees and do a little sway. Maybe you circle on the back of the pelvis, the sacrum. Plant that left foot, cross the right ankle over the left knee. That knee goes out to the side, and you could gently press your right hand to press that leg away from you, softening the glute and right side of your hip. If you want to stretch for the glute, you're going to take your right hand, put it through the hole of the legs. Take your left hand also behind the left thigh. So both hands reach behind the left thigh. And now your right glute gets a stretch. You can soften the left ankle, soften the left toes. Soften your face, forehead, cheeks, and jaw. Even let your shoulders soften. Then maybe you notice you're really gripping on your leg and you could soften that like 10%. It's just nice to be here. Take a few breaths. Letting the postures melt away, letting the stretch come into the body. 1 more breath here. Slowly lower the left foot. Uncross the right ankle. And set it up second side, left ankle over right knee. You could stay right here, just massaging the inside of that left leg or pressing that leg away from you. If you want to go for that deeper stretch of the hip and glute, left hand through the hole in the legs, right hand behind the thigh. Soften right ankle. So we're targeting the stretch towards the left hip, left glute. But notice what other parts of your body's tighten up here. It could be in the forehead, cheeks and jaw. Soften those areas. Soften the shoulders. 3 complete breaths. See if you can keep your mind interested in the breath movement. And we practice on our mat so that when we're out in the world, we can bring our focus back to our breath, back to the present moment, breathing in. Let that right foot come down. Uncross the left ankle. You can do a final sway of the knees here. And I got 1 more gentle movement for the arms. Those feet will stay planted, knees will stay bent, arms will lift up towards the ceiling. First option, steeple hands, hands come together. If that's not too good with your shoulders, then just grab your opposite elbows. You're going to start to sway that point side to side. So it's like a twist in the upper body, just like we do when we sway the knees. And we're just swaying through the shoulders. If you got your elbows, you're doing the same thing. If you wanted to gently add the legs, they go opposite of the direction of the knees. You can let your head move with your arms. We're winding down practice here, resolving any final tensions around the spine, the deep core muscles. And we'll give ourselves a little thank you by taking that right hand, crossing it underneath the armpit or around the heart area. You can hold that area. Left hand comes around the right shoulder. Just give yourself a little hug. Thank yourself for showing up today. This is a beautiful heart hug. That right hand is right around that heart area. Hold yourself well, breathe in. You could even let those knees knock in towards center. This could be your final resting position towards Savasana, or if you're ready to undo the wrap, you gently unwrap your arms. Maybe your legs go long. We just have a couple minutes here. Legs extend. Taking any final moves that you want so that your body can become still. Get those wiggles out. Yeah, get the wiggles out. Shift those shoulders underneath your back. Soften those glute muscles. Letting the body come to stillness. You can imagine your mat is a life raft and you're just floating on this beautiful lake of ours, allowing the little ripples of your breath to be the soft waves. Your body is fully supported, held at the earth. Let those gentle waves come in with your breath. Sinking into the silence here for another minute. Letting your mind focus on your breath or your body at rest. When the mind wants to get busy, encourage it to come back to the breath. Gently noticing what sensations you can feel in the body, maybe a soft tingling. You could start to connect those fingertips together, thumb to first finger, thumb to second finger, thumb to third and fourth fingers. You can stay right here for as long as you'd like, continuing your rest. If it's time for you to get to moving, you can start to bend those wrists, rolling them in a circle. Let those elbows come into a bend. Take your time, and I mean it. If you want to continue laying on your back, you stay right there. You could also start to wiggle toes, twirl ankles, and bend your knees. If and when you're ready to transition, rolling over to your right side, you might even take a couple breaths there. Don't rush yourself. Take your time. Your top arm can press down into the ground. And you start to make yourself up into a tall seat. And when you're ready to close with me today, you'll anchor down through your seat. You'll lift up through your heart center. You'll relax your shoulders. Bending your elbows, letting your two hands come in from your heart. You can acknowledge and honor yourself for showing up with soft bow of the chin, a deeper bow and intention towards the practice of yoga. All the teachers before me and the teacher inside of you. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.